Hoyotoho, take two. Very happy afternoon to everybody. As you can probably see, I am not in my studio, but on the floor again. This will be very helpful for all of us to stick to the topic of today's session, which is structure in music and life. Struktur der Musik im Alltag. Musste man so ein bisschen anders umdenken auf Deutsch. I find it so really funny that even on this day where I want to speak to you about structure, I already did this session once and it didn't work. So, structure, I don't give up. For me, it has become part of the structure of how I do life. Is Thursdays, I want to share tricks of the trade. And when it didn't work the first time, I thought, oi, I would rather go sit on the balcony and look at the pretty plants that I planted this morning. So I watered the plants, said to them, good guys, keep on going. There are things I want to share, because things I don't share, it might be too late. This glove, for example, is the reminder. As you've noticed, I always have props to remind me what I want to share with you. This glove used to belong to my father, who is now definitely in heaven. I even have two of these gloves, and these are the only souvenirs that I can see that I have of my father. Why do I have my father's gloves? Heute ist Vatertag, Männertag in Deutschland, schönen Männertag und Christi Himmelfahrt, Ascension Day for everybody. So that is why I'm not in the studio. I want to be nice to my neighbors. I don't want to slaughter my Steinway on a day where everybody is probably sleeping it off or partying quietly. So, the question that I have been asked, I like answering questions, is why do I do these sessions? And today on the little list I have is, I find it is a responsibility of me to share the experiences I have had with singers, conductors, or musicians that are not with us anymore. Nicht alle Leute gehen hin und schreiben Bücher oder unterrichten. So I think it is my responsibility to share with you what I have learned from people who are like my father, now probably in heaven. Christi Himmelfahrt. The first person about the theme too late, like I started the session too late, because I am not talented with technical things, but I am learning. Rather too late than never, I want to talk to you about the Kammersänger Wolfram Bach. I had the honor of working with Wolfram Bach in the State Theatre Hanover for 6 years, when I was still quite new in Germany. Now, Mr. Wolfram Bach, if you haven't met him, if you met him on the street, you would think, yoy, he is somebody, definitely he builds houses. And he spent, I think, every free minute he had making his fantastic Fachwerkhaus even more beautiful and original, and doing sensible things, like when an aunt of his died, she had fabulous shoes, and instead of just giving them away, he lined them all up and invited us poor theater girls to come look at the shoes and choose shoes. Also, what did I learn from Wolfram? Sharing, 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 and keeping the stage on the stage. Wolfram was a very, very fine Alberich. Now, not all fine Alberichs have to sing at the Metropolitan. The Rheingold Alberich is a role that all singers who do this, I know they are shivering in their panties before the show starts. Wolfram was always to be found in our canteen before with his beer and a cigarette. There are smoking singers, c'est la vie, and about 10 minutes before the show started, would say, Entschuldigung, and then he would go to the toilet, not to a dressing room or a room with a fabulous piano, and go, 3 times, and then he would go on stage, and only when his feet hit the stage did he become alberisch. Also, so, he knew his voice, hat seine Stimme gekannt, wusste genau wie viel einsingen musste, and he left the stage on the stage. Now, prima donna stuff, why don't you structure your life so that you save your fabulous energy for the performance on stage? The other energy you have left over, like if you're angry, if you have energy, it can't be bad for you as long as you're invested. If you're angry, go whack those weeds, go chop the wood, bake rusks, knead with your bare hands until you have changed the bad energy into something positive. If you have to sing while you're angry, for example, take the breath deeper in your body and use the extra energy for more control in the voice. But from Wolfram Bach, I learned on stage, and also to keep yourself fresh as a performer to develop, because with him, even the 50th time he sang Alberisch, it was a new Alberisch. I had the honor of seeing him perform shortly before he retired, and afterwards I was just astounded. I could not find the words to congratulate him, because the singing, the German pronunciation, the acting, the working with the orchestra, I felt as if somebody had given me a diamond. And while I keep on going, absolutely, I wax lyrical about Wolfram Bach. This is, I think, every singer out there should know, this is what you could do for the audience if you're prepared to communicate with them. Most impressive thing where I really know Wolfram Bach was one of the finest people ever to walk the stages of this earth. I sent my 12-year-old son, teenager, to see Rheingold. Now, I have a British son. Ich habe meinen britischen Sohn in die Vorstellung geschickt, im Alter von 12. And I thought, Rheingold doesn't have a break. I'll find him a chair at the end of the row so he can get out if he can't take it anymore. And 2.5 hours later, my son came up there and first, can I please meet Mr. Wotan and Alberisch? Where's the Alberisch? And when he met Alberisch, Wolfram Bach in the canteen, my son said, no, that's not the same man. And then I thought, firstly, that a teenager who doesn't speak the language can be carried away by the music and the performance. This is what we are working for as opera communicators. This is what we should all have. So, too late. The reason I did this session again today is while I was working in Hanover, I had a very fun series called Wagner Verweis, Wagner Workshop, where I worked on Wagner repertoire with younger singers who weren't going to sing the big roles immediately, but so that they can, in the old traditional structured way, learn the music, let it ripen, let it develop, see if it works. If it doesn't work, you put it away, always singing honestly. So we would have these sessions, work, and every now and then a public session where the singers offered what they had worked on, and I invited a guest, a singer or a regisseur, to come give their opinions, like a Beckmesser, about what they're singing, and to help them develop more quickly. Little sidebar, sowieso schon wieder ein Nebensatz, da muss ich schon wieder unterbrechen. Diese mit Musik rechtzeitig lernen. This whole thing about learning music, not just for singers, early enough so the music can ripen into, for singers, instrumentalists, conductors, ripen into your body so it becomes part of every breath. This is a tradition and a structure that I would love to have revived, and seeing that many people have had extra time to study and work during the virus situation, please, have you been working ahead? You know, good red wine, good cheese, they have to ripen. You have the opportunity now. Go for it, learn. How do you pick the roles that you're going to sing? Wie wählt man diese Partien, die man jetzt wählen soll? Man bleibt realistisch. You stay realistic. You can drive yourself crazy Googling which opera house is going to do which role, but to pick the roles, if you're going to just learn a role so you have it ready for when it comes, standard repertoire. Standard repertoire. If you are a very good bass, you will sing Zarastro and make lots of money. If you are a nice fluffy soprano, you should have Queen of the Night ready at a drop of a hat. For example, learn these things, have them ready so you can communicate. Consolidating all of that to the example of Wolfram Bach. Gott hat ihn selig is with me to this day. And also what I learned with him is coaching sessions. Once you've learned and performed a role, for it to ripen, it's like a plant, you have to take care of it. So what do? Even like when I worked with Wolfram coachings, when I felt like this high with shoes and hat on, so hoch mit Stöckelschuhe und Hut drauf. Hier ist dieser Sänger, Kammersänger, der schon wie viel Mal die Partie gesungen hat, und I'm a little beginner and I'm allowed to coach somebody like that. He was always generous in rehearsals, never marking. The first rehearsal I'll never forget, I wanted to correct something and I started off saying, Entschuldigung, sorry. Weshalb sagst du Entschuldigung, was hast du verbrochen? Why do you say sorry? What did you do wrong? I said, aha, here's somebody who wants to work. And also one of my main things, if you are rehearsing, this is not the time to say sorry. If you step on somebody's foot, maybe you say sorry if you're really sorry, but in a rehearsal, please learn to say again. Know what to correct. Structure the correction again. In einer Probe bitte nie das Wort Entschuldigung benutzen, außer du bist auf jemand getreten oder hast unwünsche Geräusche gemacht. Diese Energie aufbewahren, Struktur finden, nochmal, wieder. So, as soon as we start talking about sorry and making excuses about why something has gone wrong, we are wasting our time. If there's a big problem, sure, we have to analyze it, but there's for the structure. Don't start telling a story like Tolstoy about why this isn't working today because I didn't sleep well and my underwear is too tight and I need new shoes. No, you are frying your own brain. Focus, focus, focus. Und das mit dem Fokus habe ich von dem Herrn Wolfram Bach exzellent gelernt. Und too late, with my Wagner Werkstatt, with my Wagner workshop, I never had the opportunity to invite Wolfram to come work with young singers. Because before one summer holiday, Wolfram said to me, Mädchen, when are you going to ask me to come be in your workshop? And I said, we'll do it next season. And that very summer holidays, unfortunately, Wolfram passed away. Also, zu spät, jetzt tun, was möglich ist. Struktur finden. Now, how do we find structure? It's very easy for me to talk about structure today because I am in the midst of rearranging my whole flat again. The good thing about having more time at home, I don't know about feng shui, but I noticed my flat was clogged. And also some of the books that I have that have traveled the world with me, I don't do them again. Clothes, if you haven't worn it for a year, you don't need it. There are people who need it. I also have this crystal glass, which we will talk about just now, with bubbly water in it. If you drink your bubbly water, do it from crystal. Wolfram. Also, how do we find structure? I think it's very easy. Like all of us have these attacks where you have to tidy up your flat. So diese Attacken, wir müssen jetzt unbedingt aufräumen. Genauso kann man das in seiner Musik täglich praktizieren. We can do it exactly like that in our music every day. And all good things come in groups of three. Alle gute Dinge sind drei. The way I see the structure is, first of all, you sort out the stuff. You throw away the stuff that you don't want in your life, or you give it away if you know people who need. And then, third one, hang it somewhere where you can find it again and it doesn't disturb you. Dreiteilig beim Struktur erbasteln, wie man das auch optisch in seinem Leben macht. Zuerst sortieren, aber alles, nicht nur kleine Teilchen, sortieren, dann gnadenlos wegwerfen oder verschenken, was man nicht braucht. Und das Wichtigste, drittens, aufhängen oder einhängen. Things that are going to be with you. Put them somewhere where you are always aware of them, enjoying them. So I have here around me all these, for example, all my assistants. I could introduce them, but Richard has guests today. He is impossibly social. Wenn du Dinge hast, was dich glücklich macht, bitte sichtbar aufstellen. It doesn't cost anything to put the things, be it a little teddy bear or I have a little Nemo there that somebody very special gave me. Put them somewhere in your working space that every time you see them, they will motivate you. Same thing with these roles. Choice of repertoire. I think every sensible musician should at least once a year, especially singers, sit down with a list of the repertoire that you have sung, that you are singing at the moment, and that you are going to sing. And take a big black pen and get rid of the roles that you think don't fit your personality or voice anymore. Einmal im Jahr bitte mit schwarzem Stift durch Liste von Repertoire gehen und alles, was nicht mehr passt, weg damit, weg damit. Es hält uns zurück. All these thingies that you keep in your life, in your technique, in your music, that were appropriate 20 years ago for you. Even your hairstyle, we have to think every now and then, is that me? Passt das Haar? Passt die Schuhe? Soll ich noch Mozart singen? Should I risk singing Wagner? These are questions. If you've built yourself a safe structure, if you've gotten rid of things that you know that you are not going to use again, you have space in your creativity and energy to do new things. Now, I have the candle here for many reasons. I don't know if you've all seen the video floating around the internet showing that if you're whispering like I am at the moment and the candle is near to your mouth, the air will make the candle flutter, and if you take a big breath and you really sing, the candle should be still. This isn't going to work here because I have a window open. It's finally springtime. Now, it's your opinion what you think of this video, but I saw it and thought, aha, there's another training possibility for every singer. Doesn't cost much. I buy these, you know, at IKEA or everywhere cheap. You buy a bag of 100 or 500, and it's actually white. Oh, that's a fabulous yellow reflection. You'll get your little tea lights. No, because you're going to be singing around it, not the ones that smell like strawberries and vanilla and Christmas. Einfaches Teelicht beim Singen benutzen, to be aware, to have something visible, to see if you are working with consonants and vowels in the same direction. Don't think that you're going to get away from me reminding you about legato today. This is the visible structure of legato for me. The little orange bitties, grains, I see as consonants, and they are flowing in vowels. Obviously, sometimes it will be more slow. So my suggestion for you, practical, not just blah, 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 blah. Say you are in your rehearsal room. You take your candle, and behind the candle, you put a sheet of pink paper to see if you do spit around. Some people spit more while they're singing. C'est la vie. But if you spit unnecessarily, please ask yourself the whole time, are you using some consonants? Also, these people who go sing, 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 until it hits the back row, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. You do not want your consonants to be louder than your vowels. You want them all to go in the same direction with attention. Of course, we have verismo effects and very dramatic, where some kind of bodily fluid will probably hit the first row. But these are exceptions, and like all good things, in small measure. Back to the candle suggestion. Why don't you, obviously assuming you are singing from memory, have your candle, obviously something under it so you don't have wax and spit everywhere. Maybe the baking paper, you know, or those plastic bags that you've always been trying to get rid of and don't know what to do with anymore. Use them so you can dispose of them. And piece of pink paper, of course pink, it can be green as well, or blue if it must be, but so you can see while you are working, what is your voice doing? And also like really using the air that you have, wirklich zu wissen, wie du mit der Luft umgehst, was du hast, wenn du geatmet. Da könntest du sehen, wo du Luft verschwendest. This little candle trick, I think, should make it visible for you. Where are you wasting air? Of course, then you can ask yourself, oh, is that good for the expression? Just try a couple of times without killing the candle. Yeah, but if you blow out the candle just a bit further, doesn't cost much. Now, the reason I have this glass of sparkling water is, if we talk about structure in your life as a musician, we have to talk about money. Wenn man über Struktur im Leben eines Musikers redet, müssen wir irgendwie auch über Geld reden. We cannot buy our bread from the applause. Die Brötchen werden nicht vom Applaus gekauft. We invest an incredible amount of time and money constantly to develop our art, to stay in the job. So we have to be able to take care of ourselves. If you are fortunate and have an agent that you trust, this will be taken off your hands. But as the situation is at the moment, agents are also struggling. So I think this is the time to consolidate how you think about money. If you, for example, look at your list of repertoire, if you have sung the role before, write down for yourself what the money was that you get, what you would like to get, and very important, under which amount you will not sing the role without being a prima donna. For example, I think where it is absolutely okay to say no is if a theatre dares, as one did that I heard of, to offer a singer 800 euros an evening to sing Salome. Now, if you are very wealthy and you desperately want to sing Salome, go for it. But if, like me, you have to buy your cheese and garlic with real money that you must work for, take care of it. This class is for me the reminder that times are different. For 33 years I worked under a permanent contract that I had a salary at the end of every month with many different theatres, and I made extra money by working in other places. Absolutely lovely. But now, since approximately 2 years, I have been working freelance. That changes it. This class, for example, was given to me, 3 of them, when I did a Wagner evening with a fabulous colleague, Katja Beer, and Professor Hans-Peter Lehmann, who was my intendant for 6 years in Hanover. Good times, good times. In an antique shop for people who really like Wagner. So we went there, we talked about Wagner, I played lots of Wagner, Katja sang Wagner, and afterwards it was such fun. The owner of the shop said, choose yourself something from the shop as my thank you. So please decide before you talk to somebody about I'm going to do a concert or not, if you are financially able at the time to take a glass as thank you. These glasses have been traveling with me for 14 years. By the way, also it is just stuff, but in all 3 glasses, structure, something visible for me, is the reminder, whoa, there is good music out there. The audience was very happy that evening. I can even still remember what we ate. Water to Wolfram, Bach. And the other person I have on my list of experiences I would like to share with people, die andere Person, die ich heute unbedingt überreden möchte, weil sie auch nicht mehr unter uns weilt, ist Marita Napier. Marita Napier. I got to know Marita towards the end of her career, when she had all like sung many Brunhildes, Isoldes, and for fun she went to sing the Hexe in Hänsel and Gretel in Frankfurt. I went with her because it's fun. Now, why I talk about the example of Marita is she had this ability to focus, the structure. My favorite example of how did Marita work was a Sitzprobe, a musical rehearsal of Fliegende Holländer, Flying Dutchman, where she sang Zenta, and Marita was sitting there as if nobody was home, and nobody saw her breathe, but when the first entrance of Zenta came, the whole of the voice was there, musically spot on, text exactly. Beim Einsatz war Marita plötzlich wach. That ability to focus your energies, like how much energy do I need now? Those were the days when I got to know Marita, where nobody was playing around on their phones during a rehearsal. Still accepted what I always still do if I play rehearsals. I sit and I knit to keep my hands warm, or if I'm conducting, I know I've got one tenor who knit fabulous jerseys. I can't knit complicated things. You knit or you have embroidery, but something, if you have to do something, please do not waste the moment in an orchestral rehearsal of checking what's happening on Twitter. You will miss what's happening now. From Marita, I saw the confirmation of how different a musician is when this musician, in the time there is a rehearsal, focused. Keine Backrezepte austauschen während einer Probe. Even if you have a small role to sing, something small to do, think of you are working with an orchestra. And one word that I don't think we use often enough is respect towards your colleagues who sing and darlings, your colleagues in the orchestra. Soll man bitte nicht vergessen, wenn man mit einem Orchester singen darf, sitzen da Musiker, die alle meistens extrem viel weitere und längere musikalische Ausbildung haben als Durchschnittssänger. Please do not forget to respect all colleagues in the orchestra, the amount of time they have spent to be able to play their instruments and to keep the job fine and to play together in the group dynamic. Big thing. So respect is the one thing I learned from Marita. And then also the structuring, the energy. Marita, amazing. Be flexible. Structure is good, but only good if your structure is flexible. Struktur kann nur gut sein, wenn es flexibel bleibt. My dear Marita, I went with her to New York, and me, wow, New York is fabulous. And Marita, aha. And then we went into a shop with towels, ein Handtuch bestellt. And Marita was bouncing around like a bee in springtime. So to allow, when you have these moments, they're not always appropriate, but please, that's not going to be on your gravestone. This person was appropriate. Find something fun to do with the energy you have left over. We all know from performances before and after the different forms of adrenaline that course through our veins. Invested. Also, I wanted to do a short session because this is a take 2, but I noticed that I have chatted to y'all a long time. Next week I will have a new structure for the Tricks of the Trade session. I have decided that it would be appropriate at the end of me chatting to you and hopefully getting questions and comments to play a piece of music that sums up the topic of what we spoke about. So I hope you all have a marvelous Ascension Day und schön Christi Himmelfahrt, Vatertag und Männertag. And until next week, hoya to ho!